Hello? Anyone out there? Can you hear me? Anyone at all? Well, I'll just assume you can hear me, and I'll just begin. This is your host, Element J, and today, wait. Did I say Element J? Element J as in the element that's somewhere stuck in the periodic table? Yes, I did. Now, don't go searching up your chemistry book and trying to find the periodic table and trying to find out where I am supposed to be. No, don't do that. Don't take all that pain. Because I'll tell you, you won't find element J. Because it's the only element that does not exist in the periodic table, the only letter that you just can't find in the periodic table. It's a fun fact, note it down. All the way from hydrogen to ununactium, each one of us confused teen elements has a story, a periodic trend that is overlooked, and an octet stability that we think we will never attain. So here I am, element J, not here to tell you that a scientist will put you into place and all your worries. No, I, just like each one of you, am trying to find my way into the bigger chart of life, where atoms collide, gases extinguish, and to me, we teenagers are those missing elements, those undiscovered elements, just like element J. So, in my podcast, I want to talk about mental health, teenage life, and how life can sometimes be so very depressing. When I was younger, I used to think that becoming a teenager was like a magical transformation where you suddenly turn into someone else, someone you don't recognize anymore. And I was determined not to change like that. I would promise myself that I would not become the rebellious teenager who would go against the world. I wanted to go against what? Biology? And no, of course, that does not work out. But now I've understood that becoming a teenager doesn't mean losing your childhood. It means accepting whatever adulthood needs you to experience. That isn't some big and fancy word. Being a teenager, we don't change. Rather, everything around us changes, and that somehow sort of compounds the way we see things and perceive things now. It's realizing that friends betray, parents lie, and all adults make mistakes. And that no one in this world will see things the way you do. Sometimes we only see the person we have seen for years, known for years. Perhaps it is that person who is nothing to you but the most popular student, the most talented, the high achiever, or maybe it's just your best friend. No other tag. But when do we see that other part of the person that has decided to live, who chose life over death just yesterday? When do we see that that person has figured out that life was worth living? When do we see that his or her life was crumbling apart when all you could worry was which color to wear and which photo to post on your story? We hardly see the person evolving into a fighter, into a survivor, into someone with a story you could not imagine. It is perhaps a part of social media that makes you think that life is perfect. Life is full of smiles and happy friendship. That you can crop out all those parts that you don't want you to be defined by. But remember, the best moments that you make are never out there. They're with you. Even the worst that draws out the best shades of you, never makes it there. So in a way, we all live false lives, lives we don't acknowledge, and sometimes, even when we do acknowledge those tiny moments that make us who we are, we're too afraid to confront them. Sometimes we feel so lonely, so alone, even when we're surrounded by beautiful people ready to help us out. We feel like it's truly the end of the cliff and all we need to do is just jump off. There have been times I felt so low that at a particular moment, I loved being upset. I loved hurting myself that way. I felt like happiness and assurance of being okay was never an option. It was never constant. I thought shutting myself down would end all my worries, that that could become my constant. And that scared me though, that maybe I'd remain there forever without actually coming out. Sometimes I feel like I've lost my identity, who I am and who I was and what defines me, what will define me in the future. What if I lose the ability to be myself? What if I lose the passion for writing? What if I lose the passion for what I have now? How do I know what I want to become if I keep thinking differently each single day? How do I know what I want from life and what I want to achieve? How will I ever be able to make a decision? I never had answers to these questions. To me, school meant a place where I would try to actually live. somewhere I could be alive. And maybe that's why the lockdown affected me more than things ever had. Despite the pressure to do well at school, school felt like home. It was a place for me to smile, laugh, and be myself all over again. It was a place I wasn't alone with myself, alone with my thoughts where thoughts could actually haunt me. It was a place I felt supported with all my friends who knew I might not be okay, but also knew that I was capable of crossing whatever I had to. They would ask me to talk about it, but never prodded me too much, and that told me they were there, that they were patient. And I knew that despite all, that was what friendship really was. But not always will friends see you that way. Not always will they see you when you're down, and it's hardly their fault, because they too are blinded by whatever they're growing through. And it's hard for them to see beyond that. They are blinded, just like you are. And if you wanted to tell them how you're actually feeling and what's going on inside of you, well, that's different. You can't do that. It's not possible. Not very easy to do because you would be trying to describe yourself to a person who already knows you. And trying to reveal another part of you is just terrifying. And then there are your parents who always want the best out of you, will be there to support you, but in these fragile years, it's hard to have a conversation without actually hurting the other's feelings. It's hard to make anyone, for that matter, to understand what you want to do with your life and your life alone. Sometimes it's not something big that brings us down, it's something small. Things that shouldn't outpower us do. Talking about them seems stupid. How a small fight with your mom broke down your entire day. How scoring below your expectations deflates you. How a misunderstanding between friends over the silliest of reasons makes you feel lonely. One thing that you once wanted or thought you once had being snatched away ends everything. You go down that hole deep down and want to stay there till everything is alright. But no, things won't get better. Because when you finally emerge from whatever hole you've dug yourself, the problems will still be there. It's you who will see them differently. Tell yourself that those small things don't matter, and that you will get through the day and make it into the next. And despite all that, people find it easy to talk about how spoiled, rude, demanding, and arrogant we teenagers are. But do they really see the other side of us all? When there is an argument, we will always be the illogical and undisciplined ones. Is it so hard for them to acknowledge what we have been going through, what we've been achieving, rather than what we haven't been able to? Sometimes I feel afraid of how I feel, of how I think that one day I will change and become someone who doesn't have this approach towards life, the same realization. Sometimes I worry I think too much, and I'm locked up inside of myself. Sometimes I tell myself that I should never expect anything from life. Tell myself that life will keep upsetting me, that life likes to watch people suffer. But when I look back now, all that it has taught me something. It has applauded me for the person I am now, much stronger, bolder, and unafraid of whatever life is gonna throw at me. I know I can get through it. Now, if you don't get what I mean, questioning me why I feel the way I do, why I feel in this particular way, what could simply be wrong with my life that I feel the way I do? Well, guess what? I don't know either. There are people out there who have gotten through things worse than me. Their life is even more broken up and probably beyond repair, but I do believe we can. Together we can. Let's not back down when life teaches us something. Because remember, when you've survived the day, the week, the month, the year, you're a survivor. And as a survivor, you're one of us. So welcome to the society of teen elements, where we are all unique, all different, and yet desperately have the need to fit in to the periodic chart of life. Thank you for staying tuned in all the way till the very end. Any queries, any questions, any suggestions, you can reach out to me through my website, societyofteenelements.wordpress.com. And if there's anything you would like me to address, I will surely go through it. Stay safe and stay strong. Goodbye.